Hang on. I forgot to do something because I'm stupid. Hang on, where are we? There we go. Hey up, it's Stephen, that old Yorkshire geek. I'm an idiot. Welcome to episode 145 of Friday Night Appointment with Fear, and this week we're reviewing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark from 2019. Guillermo del Toro again. We had him last week, didn't we, with Crimson Peak. This week he's just a producer. The director of this movie is André, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Øvredal or whatever, something like that. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the spelling. André Øvredal, that's it, André Øvredal, who brought us the amazing Troll Hunter, which we have covered before, and also another film that we've covered on Friday Night Appointment with Fear, The Autopsy of Jane Doe. So he's a really good director. So that's what we're doing tonight. But before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Join us in the chat, the live chat, if you're a subscriber. You've got to be a subscriber for a certain amount of time to allow that. What else? Explore the description for links for stuff like merch and me books. There they are, Amazon Kindle and paperback. Give them a whirl, and other stuff like my social medias and all that palaver. Become a member. Oop, I made burping already. Of the YouTube channel, and then you'll have early access videos and exclusive videos and stuff like that. If I ever get round to doing any again, I need to do some more audio commentaries, and I'm not getting a chance to do them because my life is all topsy-turvy at the moment. I'm surprised I'm finding time to do these shows, to be completely honest. But anyway, woe is me and all that. What else? Well, let's make sure we're live. We are live on YouTube. Yes, according to that we are. We should be live on Rumble. Yes, we're live on Rumble. And we should be live on Twitch. Yes, we're live on Twitch. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. So there we go. Right, so Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark from 2019. Based on the popular books, which obviously I've not read. It's like, I suppose you could say like a kids horror film, a gateway horror film. You could say it's along the same lines as like Stranger Things or, you know, the It films. It's a group of school kids who've got to overcome horrific events. So it's like that Monster Squad. It's in that vein. It's got that sort of feel to it. So, like I said, produced by Guillermo del Toro. You can see his fingerprints all over it. Written by the Hagman brothers. Not Larry Hagman from Dallas. The I don't know how to pronounce it. Hagerman brothers, who also brought us. I think, did they do Crimson Peak as well, or did they do something else? They did something else. They did the Troll Hunters animated series, which is not related, I don't think, to André Øvredal's movie Troll Hunter. But they did this, and Mystery Men. They did Mystery Men. They didn't do Crimson Peak. I must have seen their name when they were researching this. So they did this. And anyway, they went on to do Star Trek Prodigy on Paramount Plus and Netflix. So there we go. So that's a Star Trek reference straight out of the box. It stars loads of people you've never heard of, apart from Dean Norris and Javier Botet, who plays one of the monsters that's in it. There are a few monsters, and they're really good. They're trying to do as many practical monsters as possible. And they are essentially all the monsters that we see in it are practical, but there's obviously some CG enhancements and stuff. But it's really, really good stuff. It had a budget of $25 million, box office of $104 million. So it did quite well, didn't it? It did quite well. Horror films generally do. What were its reaction? What the critical response? 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, you know, not too bad, I suppose. I like this film. I think it's okay. Right. So, Windgrace is here. Prodigy is not on either anymore. That's true. I love this book. Never watched the film yet. Oh, well, I'm going to be spoiling the bejesus out of this. But anyway. Right, so we'll get on with it. Obviously, we're not just going to watch the film because YouTube will go mental and just stop the stream, as YouTube does. Because this is a live stream. If I just put the film up on YouTube, it'll probably just get blocked. But, my channel would still be around. I'd get a copyright claim and stuff. So you do see channels that do upload movies, but this isn't that sort of channel. This is a live stream where we're reviewing the film. And I'm trying to remember the things I've learned from the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray, which frankly are rubbish. It's like lots of little webisodes, like 2-minute, sometimes 30-second little snippets of them just interviewing people saying, "Oh, this film is good. Oh, we really enjoyed making it," and that's about it really. So that's a bit poo. No audio commentaries, and I'm surprised with Guillermo del Toro being one of the producers. I thought he'd have rattled off a commentary for it, but he didn't. He didn't, so never mind. I'm sweating. Bloody hell, I can feel sweat running down my side. Because it's really warm again. Wingray says, my Sonia Gomez song just finally got claimed for using that 4-second clip on repeat. Tell you. My Star Trek Strange New Worlds review of the latest episode 5, that got a copyright claim, but I put in a dispute. I put some flowery language in the dispute, and it worked because they released it. They released the claim, so now I can earn money off it, thankfully. Oh dear. Right, maybe I should be a lawyer. I'd be rubbish at it though. Right, so we'll get on with it. We're not going to watch the film, we're going to watch it in a series of stills, and I'll try and remember everything I've learned about it. So off we go, and I'll give you my opinions on the film as we go. I don't have a huge amount of information about it, to be honest. I've got what I've gleaned from IMDb trivia, and as I said, there's not a lot of information on the Blu-ray, so I apologise in advance. Right, I'll pop myself down in the corner. Just bear with me while I sort myself out. Is that the right one? Yes, is it that one? Or is it that one? No, it's not that one, is it? Not that one either. I need to get rid of some of these. I don't think you can delete them, though. Anyway, whatever. On StreamYard. Wingray says, my shuttle to Ken Forey got hit because of the Queen audio I used. I'm not surprised. Oh well, I get like 200 views and I'm not monetised for ads anyway. Not yet. You get in there. Right, off we go. Scary stories to tell in the dark. By the way, I picked this one. It's technically a Halloween film, although the only real mention of Halloween is at the beginning of the movie, but it takes place over the Halloween period. So maybe I should have saved it for Halloween, but I chose it because it's the anniversary of it. It released tomorrow on the what's the date today? 8th. It released on the 9th of August. I think it was. Let me check. 2019. I'm probably misremembering now. Yes, it released on the 9th of August 2019. So that's why I chose this. I go looking in films released on certain dates to make the stream kind of relevant, if I can find something. But anyway, off we go. There we go. So let's get through the opening things. Entertainment 1, CBS. Right, we're off. Stories heal, stories hurt, blah, blah, blah. Right, we're in 1968. By the way, the voiceover was from the character of Stella, who is played by, I can't remember, Stella Nichols, played by Zoe Colletti. As I said, I don't know anybody in this film apart from Dean Norris. You'll know him when you see him. Starship Troopers, Breaking Bad, etc. He's not in it a lot. He plays Stella's dad. So she's a writer. She likes telling scary stories. But the film is about somebody telling a scary story to her and her friends. But anyway, the very last autumn of their childhood, 1968. That's when it's set. The movie in Mill Valley, Pennsylvania. But it was actually all filmed in Canada, as is usually the case, isn't it? Whereabouts in Canada? Ontario. Let's have a look. Hamilton, Ontario, St. Thomas, And Petrolia sounds like an interesting place. It's where Sarah's house is, in Petrolia, Ontario. Is it named after petrol? Don't know. Anyway, so there it is. But it's set in Mill Valley, Pennsylvania. And we do see an asylum later on in the film called Penhurst, which is really in I don't think it's the Penhurst Asylum, the one that's famously, supposedly haunted, but it doesn't mention that anywhere in any of the trivia I've read about it, that they named it after that asylum. I don't know, but anyway. Right, so here we see in the town, the election's going on, where Tricky Dicky is going to get into power, isn't he? Notice there's some swastikas there for some reason. I don't know. Don't vote, vomit. And remember, it's the height of the Vietnam War and all that. So that people getting drafted, etc. This is where we're meeting Tommy. He's the bully. He's horrible, he's Tommy. And his gang, that they call them the Lettermen. I don't know how they call them that. Is that because of the letters on their high school jackets? I don't know. But he's a bully, but he's volunteered. He hasn't been drafted. He's volunteered, and he's going to Nam. So anyway, that's Stella on her bicycle. Before that, we see this chap. There he is. That's Ramon. Played by Michael Garza. So we get to meet the main characters. There we see a bit of Vietnam going on. She's feeding her dad. That's Dean Norris. Look, there he is. Looking old now, isn't he? But he's not that old, is Dean Norris, is it? How old is Dean Norris? I was probably going to say he's like 1,000,000 years old, but I read somewhere he's one of these actors that looks older than he is. 1963 he was born, so he's 62 now. So we want that 62 when this came out. This was 6 years ago, wasn't it? So he was 56, younger than I am, and he looks young. Pardon me, looks younger than I am. But anyway, there he is. Dean Norris playing Stella's dad, who is a good chap. Her mother's left. Apparently, her mother left when she was little. And she blames herself. Apparently, it became a bit of a talk thing. It's a small town, so it became the talk of the town. The mother left, and left him with the kid, and she blames herself. But anyway, he's a good. He's not one of these. He's not an abusive dad. He's a good dad, or he tries to be. Anyway, but she looks after him. Then she's in a room, and we see that she's into horror stuff. Look, the vampire bat, Frankenstein's daughter, all that stuff. And then she's writing The Whistling Room by Stella Nichols. She's got a typewriter, and she talks to her friends Augie and Chuck via walkie-talkies. You see, she's got some comics or magazines and stuff there. She's a girl after Windgracer's heart. Anyway, it's Halloween. And her friends are going out to do Halloweeny things, trick-or-treating. But she doesn't really want to go. But he wants to go. He wants to pay back Tommy the bully. So he's fishing turds out of the toilet bowl. It's disgusting, it is. That's Chuck, by the way. That's Augie. Short for August. Chuck's obviously short for Charles. But anyway, so they're talking into it. It's where we meet Ramon. There he is having his car filled up. He's a drifter. He's on the run. He's a draft dodger, we learn later on. Winggrace says, I just got my friend's son the Wolfman action figure. I hope I'm saving the world. Yes, you are. The Wolfman, the Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman, I hope. The original, but I wouldn't say best, but a classic. Anyway, as I said, he's supposedly just passing through, but I think he's dodging the draft. Here we see there's some Halloweeny stuff going on. This is at Augie's house. It looks like they're quite wealthy then, doesn't it? Because they've got, I think, what are them that had a pool? Yes, they've got a pool. So they seem to be quite wealthy. But his dad's not around, His mum has got I don't know, a boyfriend or a new husband, I don't know, but he doesn't call him Dad. We learn later on. But they're going to go out of town and leave him alone. But anyway, she's sorting out his costume. He's a what do they call it, Pierrot. People call him a clown. He says, "I'm not a Pierrot." But anyway. Here's Tommy going into the cornfields, and this is Harold the Scarecrow, and Tommy apparently hates that scarecrow. He's from a farming family. But anyway, they're getting a bit drunk, and he's beating up the scarecrow with a baseball bat. And there we go, boo. So he hates that scarecrow. We all know what's going to happen there, don't we? Anyway, here's Chuck fishing out turds out of the toilet bowl. There they are. Look. Yummy. But his sister Ruth is watching, saying, "What the hell are you doing?" Saying, "Give me some privacy." Anyway, he comes down in his costume and he's complaining to his mum. I asked for Spider-Man, not a Spider-Man. She's made him, but she's made him a costume, so he should be grateful. Bloody brat. My mum never made costumes for me when I were a kid. We didn't have trick or treating. That was a thing that came along in the early 80s with E.T. Before that, we didn't do trick or treating in the UK. But anyway, right. So he's getting all his stuff ready, and he's got his bag of turds and stuff getting ready. There's Augie calling for him. So off they go. Off they go on their bicycles, because they're kids. Stella's doing her makeup. She's getting dressed up as a witch. Right, so off they go. They were saying, "I'm a Pierrot." But anyway. Alright, and Og is always talking about the food that Chuck eats. He said, "Do you know what's in those?" He's always worried about what people are eating or what he's eating, which is one of his fears, and we learn that the stories that they become involved with are all about their fears. So his fears about food, Chuck's fears are about a red room, which we'll see in a pale lady. Ramon's, obviously, he's a draft dodger, so he thinks he's a coward, and Stella is a fear of being different or something. Not really sure what her fear is, but anyway. Wingray says, "My mum made my costumes. It's been a spiral downwards ever since." As I said, we didn't have that sort of thing when I were a kid. Anyway, so off they go. Right, so anyway, they see a car in a minute. Here it comes. This is Tommy and his gang. But they don't know that Ruth's in there. Ruth is Tommy's date for the night. But he's got the bag. Oh, they've stolen it already. There we go. They've got the bag. This is all a ruse. They know they're going to steal what's in this bag. So that's what they do, and they steal it, thinking they're stealing their well-earned candy, but it's not. It's a bag of old men's dirty laundry, some old man undies, and they say it stinks. So I don't know where he's got them from. But anyway, the car stops, so they start egging it. They've got eggs and stuff. They're throwing eggs, look, and then he's got hang on, there we go. He's got his bag of poo that he sets on fire and throws it in. There we go. So they're not happy about that. They crash the car. So they've got to run for their lives. Off they go into the woods, running for their lives. And they end up at the drive-in with Tommy and his gang in pursuit. And they jump in a car, which just happens to be Ramon's car. There they go. In they go. Says, "What are you doing in my car? We're hiding." So, but Tommy finds them. But anyway, they strike up a friendship almost immediately. But Tommy and his gang arrive, but Ramon sticks up for them. They're watching Night of the Living Dead, probably because it's in the public domain, so they can show it in the film. But she's into horror, so she knows all about it, even though it only came out that year. But she must have been to see it a few times, because she can recite the script. He's saying, "You've seen it." There we go. Right, Vince hit him in the head, which is at the very end of the film, isn't it? But anyway, so they're going to become I don't know if they kind of are a couple in the film, but there's no snogging her out in this. Anyway, so Tommy's there, and he sees them off. He says, says you stink because of the poo and stuff, and says, get off my car. But then they get interrupted because the security from the thing makes them go. Right. So anyway, so they're friends now. They're all friends. Right. Off she goes. Right, she says, do you want to go see a haunted house? She got all upset. She got out of the car. She got upset because they were talking about her mum or something. And so she got upset, took her warts off her witch thing. And then she comes back and says, do you want to go see a haunted house? So off they go to see, nice bit of Night of the Living Dead there. So they drive over to the Bellows house. There it is. Which is the town's haunted house. It's got a big legend connected to it with Sarah Bellows, who were like supposedly a weird kid that were locked up by her family, and then she hanged herself, but they keep saying she hung herself in this film. But anyway. And so therefore it is haunted by the ghost of Sarah Bellows. I always think, when they say Sarah Bellows, I always think of Sarah Bellum or Miss Bellum from the Powerpuff Girls. And the only reason I know about that is because my son used to watch it when he was little. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, right, so they're going to go in and have a look. But it's all locked up. Right, earlier on in the car, Chuck had said, show us, I bet you've got a flick knife, haven't you? I think they call it, is it a flick knife? Yeah. You got, and he's saying, show us your flick knife. He says, why do you think I've got a flick knife? But then in a bit, we learn that he has got a flick knife. Anyway, it's all locked. So, but he can get in. He said, have you got a pen? And there we go. Obviously, Chuck has got one of those cheeky pens where you turn it upside down. She gets undressed, one of those cheeky pens. But he snaps off I don't know what you call it, the bit you put in your pocket, the bit that holds it in your pocket, that bit, that metal bit. Whatever it's called, he snaps that off and jimmies the padlock and gets them in the house. By the way, if they hadn't done this, none of this film would have happened, and all the stuff that happens at the end, with the spirit of Sarah Bellows, it wouldn't have happened. And it's all Stella's fault, but the film never tells you that. But anyway, Wingray says Powerpuff Girls was really good for what it is. Yeah, it was fun. The city of Townville. Anyway, was it Mojo Jojo in that? Wasn't it Mojo Jojo, and I forgot his name. Fuzzy Lumpkin. See, tell you. Anyway. Right, so nobody knows what Sarah Bellows looked like, and I was expecting something really either grotesque or amazing. A bit of a letdown, to be honest, when we see her, but never mind. Right, so they're exploring the house. Chuck and Augie have run off to do stuff. Yes, and hang on, where are we? There we go. And the creepy Satan villain, him, yes, so kind of had like lobster claws, didn't it? And were a bit effeminate for some weird reason. All very strange, wasn't it? Anyway, so they're talking about, the ghost story of the house. And the thing is, you would go to the house and you would ask Sarah to tell you a scary story. And that was the thing. It's like a Bloody Mary sort of thing, I suppose. But anyway, that's the story that she poisoned the kids or something like that. That's that Sarah poisoned the kids and she was a witch or something. Something along those lines. So they're having a shufty round while essentially Augie and Chuck are playing hide and seek. He's gone and hid. I think Chuck said something to Augie and he's run after him saying, I'm going to get you, and he's hiding from him. But these are looking at this a bookshelf built into the wall, but he notices there's something behind it. There we go. And we see there's a hidden door that nobody's noticed before, and down they go. into the cellar. And they find another lock, but this one's a different one. So this is where he gets his flick knife out and he jimmies that one open. So, or does she do it? Maybe she does it. I can't remember. Anyway, so they go exploring that. Is this Chuck? Yes, Chuck's still having a shufty around, and he hides in a cupboard. That's where he is. He hides in this like a wardrobe or something like that. Doesn't lead to Narnia, but he looks back out. It's all dark, as you can see in there, and he hides in this wardrobe. And when he looks out again, the lights are on, and the room is back to its former glory. It's all kind of spooky. And he's like, what's going on here? And he looks round and he sees there's an old lady sitting on the bed with a dog, a Doberman there. And she turns and looks at him. And he's like, what's going on? And you hear footsteps outside the door. And you know it's not going to be them. You know it's going to be Augie that opens the door, and it is. And he's like, where's the old woman and the dog? And we've got to get out of here. So he's rattled because he's essentially seen a ghost or a time slip or whatever you want to call it. And they're saying, where are they? And they call, they say, come down, Augie, Chuck, come down here. We found something cool. So they found Sarah's room. There we go, with all her writings and stuff. And so this was where they kept Sarah locked up. Did the Bellows family. I think she had at least one brother. She might have had two brothers, I can't remember. Or did she have a brother and a father and mother and grandma or whatever. But they kept her locked up. Down in the basement because it turns out she wore like an albino. Sorry, an albino. But anyway, she finds a book. There we go. She finds a few books, but she finds one in particular, which is Sarah Bellows' story book. There we go. It says this book belongs to Sarah Bellows, and she opens it up, and it's. She's going to show. She's going to open it. She open it. There we go. It's a book of scary stories. Not going to show it, is it? But anyway, so that's going to be the main thing in the film. Anyway, they get locked in suddenly. There we go. Tommy's must have followed them, and he's locked them in. But Ruth is saying, "Come on, let him out. It's my brother that's down there. Let him out." And says, if you don't let him out, I'll tell the chief. I presume she means the chief of police, I'm guessing. So he throws her in as well. But she gets all when they go in originally. Let's go back again. That's it. You see all cobwebs about. Just a minute. I've got to find it. Where they're going originally. Oh, here we go. So they go in. Is it? Oh, hang on. There we go. Oh no, we haven't got that far yet. Keep going back. Oh dear. Right, here we go. This is it. They go in, and there's all these like cobwebs hanging. There we go, hanging from the ceiling. They just do that. Does anybody else just brush them away like they're nothing? Because I wouldn't be. If I knew, because they're actors, they know they're not real cobwebs. If they're real cobwebs there, I'd be like that, me, because I'm a big girl's blouse. But anyway, so there's all cobwebs and stuff. Get back to where we were. Tommy's locked him in. There we go. And she says, let him out or I'll tell the chief. So he shoves her in as well. And shoots her in. And locks the door and leaves. And they're like, let us out. Anyway, she's freaking out, look, because of the cobwebs. She's saying, get it off me, which is what pretty much I'd be like. Because she doesn't like spiders or creepy crawlies, which is what her story will be about. Wingress says, no, the transporter chief, because it's all about Star Trek. Not the chief of police. Anyway, so Augie gets the cobwebs off her. The spiders are gone. This is Chekhov's spiders for later on in the film. Anyway, she's looking at the book, and creepy music's playing, so you know something's going to happen. And there, she says it, there we go. This is the bit that if she hadn't have done this, the rest of the film wouldn't have happened. And essentially, people wouldn't have died. There's 4 people, doesn't it? The body count's not high in this film. 4 people die in this film, and it's all because of her. If she hadn't said this, it wouldn't have happened. But anyway, she says, Sarah Bellows, tell me a story. She just like whispers it, and then it kind of activates the house, or the spirit. There you go, you see, look, the shadow of Sarah's spirit starts stretching forth across the house and then the town and all that stuff. But anyway, suddenly there we see the shadowy hand, clawed shadowy hand, creeps across, a bit like in Dracula, and unlocks the door and lets them out. And said, "Oh, let us out." Anyway, there we go. So I think, right, fair enough. Off we go. But then he gets to his card as Ramon, and he sees that Tommy's vandalised it, and it's all done in. So he's not happy about that. And Stella says, I'll try and scrounge something together. And he says, don't worry about it. I will take it to the shop and sleep in the car. But he says, you can sleep in our basement. We've got a couch. Speaking of Trek, did you see the Bakula news? No, I haven't seen that. What's he been up to? Old Scott Bakula. Scott Bakula Black. So we're in What We Do in Shadows, wasn't it? Scott Bakula. And they thought he was a vampire because his name was Bakula Blair. Anyway, no, I haven't seen that. Let's have a look then. We're supposed to be doing scary stuff, not Star Trek things. News. Exclusive. Scott Bakula eyeing Star Trek return in President Archer series pitch from Enterprise producer. Right. So is this for... What's this for then? Is this for a TV show or what? Go away. Where does it say? President Archer. On Paramount Plus. How soon are we going to see Star Trek Archer on Paramount Plus? Yeah, okay. No, I've not seen that. So, check that out later. Guess he was pitched to President Archer series, yeah. Anyway, I may do a news thing about that tomorrow. Maybe. Where were we? Right, yes, his car's knackered. So he goes and spends the night at Stella's. So off they go. And she says, you'll be fine as long as you're out of here before my dad gets up. Her dad's asleep. There he's asleep in his chair. She covers him up. Bless him. Because he works hard and he's doing like extra shifts and stuff. And all that. Winger says, I'm all in if Shran is his chief of staff. I hope he'd be in it. If they don't do it, I hope he's in it. Old Jeffrey Coombs. Yes. Anyway, horror. Boo. Right, so... he's up in her bedroom. Supposed to be going to the basement, isn't he? But he's gone up to her bedroom for some weird reason. And he's looking at her writings and all that stuff. And looking at her comics and magazines and all that. And anyway, she says, right, the basement's downstairs. He says, yes, that's usually where they are. So off he goes. And that's it. That's it. There he goes. He's down on the couch in the basement. I was expecting a nice basement. Because you Americans usually have these lovely basements where you've got your game room and all that stuff. This house doesn't have a basement. I don't know anybody with a house with a basement. Not off the top of my head. Not currently. Yeah. But it's not. It's a bit done in. I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway, so... she's going to read, have a look at Sarah Bellows' book, because she took it from the house, because, Stella is the evil person in this film, even though she isn't. But if she hadn't said what she said, none of this would have happened. I suppose if she'd left the book there, again, none of it might have happened. But she's taken it, and she's looking at some of the stories that's in the attic, which apparently this is a story from the books, which I've not read. Win Grace will know all about it. So she's looking at that. And then see, there's lots of blank pages. which will start filling up. Is it this where she... Oh, then the Wendigo, which is another one. And then she sees a story that wasn't there before. She turns a page and then turns it back, and then suddenly there's a story there called Harold. And she smudges, she does like that to the ink, and it's still wet, so it's just been written. So anyway, so this is the story of Harold that we're going to see. And as it's happening, it's writing itself in the book, and she's freaking out about it. But anyway, this is about Tommy and the Scarecrow Harold. He hates it. He's come back from his evening of japery, and he's a bit drunk. But his mother's shouting at him, "It's late, are you drunk again?" He's got to deliver eggs to I presume the neighbours, because she says, I can't remember the names. To the Wolvertons. Supposed to deliver eggs to the Wolvertons. So off he goes he kicks some chickens. Off he goes to the chickery, where they keep the chickens. Coop, I don't know. Chicken barn. Collects some eggs. We see him with a basket of eggs in a minute. I'm going to walk over to the Wolvertons, but that's Harold the Scarecrow watching. It's supposed to be, it's got a terrifying face, and I'm thinking, why have they given him this terrifying face? Is it a real person? It's supposed to be made up of stuff, an old shirt, and his stomach's supposed to be a pumpkin. And this is supposed to be a horror mask, apparently. Of what? I don't know, but it's supposed to be, an old Halloween mask that they've stuck on the Scarecrow, which is why it's terrifying. Anyway, so there they go. She's reading it. Tommy hated the Scarecrow all his life. And she's like, Tommy? Oh no, what's going on? So off he goes with his basket of eggs to the Wolvertons, and he's walking. So there must be neighbours, I'm guessing. So off he goes, and he keeps walking past Harold. They're going to show it. There we go. But he walks a bit further, and then suddenly Harold is there again on his pole. So is he walking in circles? But it's kind of freaking him out. Then he gets to another one. By the way, they're a bit earlier on with this really bright light shining. I'm thinking, but that's supposed to be the moon. I'm probably not going to find it now, am I? There's the moon there, but there's another shot. Or is it this shot? No. There's a really bright light. I probably won't be able to find the bugger now. I thought, is it a spotlight or something? I'm not going to find it. There we go. That's not the moon, is it? It wasn't that bright, was it? Anyway. Whatever. Anyway, he keeps coming across, and then suddenly the pole is empty, and he's rustling in the corn, and suddenly he's there, chasing after him. He falls over, scared, and comes lumbering after him. Does Harold, but he runs off and he trips over a fork, a gardening fork, and he picks that up. And obviously runs Harold through, but it doesn't do anything, and Harold just takes it off him and runs him through. But there's no blood. Look, hang on, I've missed it. There we go. Goes straight through him. There's no blood. Weirdly. His stomach is a pumpkin, so like a tumpkin. Yes, like a tumpkin, yes. A stomachic. Yes, so it runs Tommy through with the fork, but there's no blood, and there's a reason for that, because as he runs off, he's thinking, why am I not dead? But he's in pain, and he starts spitting up, he starts coughing and gagging, and he starts spitting up straw, so he's turning into a scarecrow. There we go, we see he's coughing up straw, look. There we go. And the straw coming out of the wound, the straw coming out of his arms. And so that's it. That's the end of Tommy. We see what comes of him later. There we go. We'll get that. That's his last view of him alive, and all the straw coming out of him. But is missing, as far as anybody else knows. He's missing. Right. So the police chief arrives. There he is. Played by Gil Bellows. We've got Sarah Bellows, a character, but the actor that plays the chief is actually called Gil Bellows. Coincidences. Anyway, he'd spoken to Ramon the previous day, said, basically, doing the Rambo bit, we don't like strangers in our town, just keep going, and all that. And he notices he's still here with all this damage done, and he's saying he'd heard that they'd had an altercation with Tommy at the drive-in. Did Tommy do this? Tommy's missing. He says Tommy's missing. So he says, stick around, Ramon. So he says, fair enough. There we go. Tommy Milner. Somebody saw him at the drive-in. So it'd be a good idea if you stuck around. Anyway, what's going on here? I can't remember. Back at the school. They're practicing. There's going to be a play at some point, which Ruth is in, but that's later. But she's telling them all about the story that we're writing itself. And now he's missing. And he's saying, he joined up. He was eager to shoot some commies. Excuse me. So he's probably gone early. And he says, Augie says, if he has gone, good riddance to him. Don't care. Go see what their bully wanted. So they don't care. Anyway. But she thinks something else is going on. And it is because she opened a big fat gob. There we go. Good riddance to him. We should never have taken the book. We? She took the book. But anyway. Right, so they go out into the fields. There we see all scarecrows. She's gone with Ramon. And there we see the police at Tommy's house. And Ramon saying, I can't get involved with the police. So they go and have a look in the field. Now we're going to find a scarecrow. It looks a lot like Harold, but it's got Tommy's shirt on and his t-shirt as well. So I think that is Tommy. Tommy has taken the place of Harold, but obviously they can't prove it because it doesn't listen. What if it is Tommy? Says it's just a scarecrow. So she believes what's happening in the book because she saw it happen. She saw the book writing itself. She knows what's going on, but obviously nobody believes her yet. Anyway. So, she decides she's putting the book back. She takes the book back to Sarah's house and puts it back. Here's your book back. But it's too late for that. It's too late. Right, she goes home. There's her dad. He's working extra shifts and all that. He looks tired, and he's sad. He's sad. He's a dad because got the weight of the world on his shoulders and all that stuff. But anyway, he says to her, Tommy's gone missing and stuff, and just come straight home after school, because weird stuff's happening. Anyway, Ruth, who's Chuck's sister, remember, has got a spider bite. I thought it was a zit at first, and Chuck, her brother, picks on her about it, saying, you've got zits. He says it's a spider bite. So obviously it happened when she were in the cobwebs in Sarah Bellows' house. But they were saying, you got enough zit paint on there? She says, it's a spider bite. Anyway. But she's got to go to do her play or whatever. Right, Ramon calls to see Stella. So remember, her dad's off working, remember, doing double shifts or whatever. So it's fine. And anyway, so she says, she's cooking dinner and she's making some for him. She brings him up. Hope you're hungry. He says, I'm starving. And then she sees he's reading a book. And it's Sarah Bellows' book. She says, where'd you get that? He says, it was just there. It was on your bookshelf or whatever. He says, no, it wasn't. I took it back to the house and now it's come back to me. Oh, no. What's going on? And anyway, as they're watching, she opens it up. There we go. We see it starts writing itself. Look, there we go. The big toe. And a mother was digging at the edge of her garden when she saw a big toe. She tried to pick it up, but it was stuck to something, it says there. There we go. So you've got to make it stop. But she starts ripping out the pages, but every time she rips it out, it just it's just copied on the page underneath and just carries on. But anyway, then you can see there, look. The boy took the toe into the kitchen to his mother. It looks nice and plump. I'll put it in the soup. So anyway, they realise who this story is about. It's Augie. So she gets him on the walkie-talkie. Augie. Anyway, he's on the phone to his mother and her chap. Maybe it's his stepdad, I don't know, but they've gone off for the weekend and left him alone. And anyway, he finds some stew in the fridge, and his mother's on the phone saying, "What stew? I haven't made any stew." He says, "Well, somebody's made it." So he gets this stew out, and there it is. But something's in the stew, look. I wonder what it could be. Maybe it's a big toe. Anyway, he keeps having a good big mouthful of it, but he hangs up on his mother. "Yes, love you, see you when you get back, whatever." And then he answers the walkie-talkies, and they say, "Don't eat anything." And they're saying that, his buddy eating it, look. He has a big old mouthful of it. Hang on, look, hang on. There we go. Has a big old gobful. And she's saying, "Stop eating it." But anyway, who took my wife? Yes, the boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night, a sound scared him. It was a voice, and it called out, "Who took my toe?" August got very scared, but he thought, "It doesn't know where I am. It'll never find me." But she's telling him all this, by the way. She's saying, the story's saying you're going to hear somebody say, "Who took my toe?" And he says, "I can't hear anything, apart from you saying it." But anyway, then Augie says he knows this story. So it scared me so much as a kid. But anyway, he says everything's fine, don't worry about it. And there's no voice. Anyway, he has another big mouthful. And then he realises he's got a big toe in his mouth. Is it this bit? He said, "Don't eat anything." There we go. And he's eating a big mouldy toe. So obviously starts retching. And he goes, and then he hears the voice. I think he starts hearing it here. "Who got my toe?" August got very scared. But here it comes. In a minute. He goes hiding. There we go. Here comes the big toe person. I don't know the name of this ghost. I can't remember. Hang on. This is, by the way, Javier Botet, who we've seen in loads of stuff. And just the big toe corpse. The monsters that we've got in this, obviously, Harold the Scarecrow and the Pale Lady. It's probably the most famous monster in this film. The big toe corpse and the jangly man. Oh, played by a contortionist. Anyway, here comes the big toe corpse looking for her big toe. And he's obviously freaking out. He hides under his bed. There you go, as you would. You won't be able to get under my bed. There's too much stuff under there. Anyway, so here it comes. But he can't, nothing happens, and he looks out and he thinks, "Oh, it's not there." But obviously it's under the bed. It looks on top, but then it grabs him and pulls him in. He's going, "Where's my toe?" Hang on, where are we? I'm going to see its face in a minute. Have I missed it? I thought. Oh, there we go. Just to scare you. Boo! Going, "Where's my toe?" Screaming at him, and pulls him into the darkness under his bed. There we go. Off he goes, scratching the because you want carpet, wouldn't it? Won't be able to scratch that, would he? Scratching the floorboards under his bed, and he's gone. That's it. Augie's gone. We don't know what's happened to him. I thought they were all going to come back at the end of the film. They don't. Spoilers. Anyway, so they've gone running over, saying, "We're coming over." So they've gone running over. And there's nowhere to be seen. The movie's bed, see the scratches in the floor that disappear at the skirting board. And that's it. Augie's gone. Is he dead, or is he just in some netherworld? Don't know. Anyway, then we hear the radio. A fella that sounds a bit like Wolfman Jack. Not that I know much about Wolfman Jack. The only thing I know about Wolfman Jack, he were in Galactica 80. One episode of that. That's all I know about him. And he was a famous DJ in America. But he sounds a little bit like him, I suppose.
Our own Tommy Milner, right here in Little Mill Valley.
There we go. Talking about Tommy Milner's gone missing, but Augie's missing as well now. Here they are at the drive-in. I don't know if there are any drive-ins in the UK. No, we don't really have the weather for it, do we, over here? But anyway, there must be one, at least one somewhere. Somewhere in the UK there'll be one more. I'm going to look it up now. I'm curious now. UK drive-in cinemas. Are there any? No, I don't know if I find the one closest to me. Yeah, actually, there's quite a few. There's quite a few. I had no idea. There's a map of it. There's loads of them up and down. I think the nearest one to me is the Blue Sky Cinema. Where's that then? I think it's in Leeds, is it? Or is it? Yeah, it's in Leeds. Oh, there we go. There's one in Wakefield. No, that's not a drive-in. No, it ain't. Stop lying. Is that one? Yeah, that one is. Cool. Drive-ins in the UK. I didn't know we had them. Anyway, the there at the drive-in is Ramon and Stella, and they must have phoned up or gone on the walkie-talkie to Chuck, who's going to arrive with Ruth in a minute. But anyway, she's talking about her mum leaving, and she's all sad about that. She blames herself and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. There we go, they've arrived. She's telling them what happened, and Augie's gone, because he does say, where's Augie? He says, Augie's gone. You know, is he dead? Don't know. But, so they're wondering what's going on, and he's looking in the book, and they don't really believe him. But, you know, Ramon's, I saw it happen, the book was just writing itself. But, anyway, Ruthie don't believe him. They go, I don't believe any of it. So she's got to go off and do her play. So they think, right, we're going to burn the book. Because luckily, just where they are, there's a big oil drum. So they're going to burn the book. But it doesn't let them. It tips over the oil drum by itself, apparently. And jumps out and won't burn for some reason. Because it's magic. So they can't burn it. So they think, well, what can we do with it? Have they tried acid or shredding it? Would it just reconstitute itself if they shredded it? I don't know. Did they have shredders back in the 1968? Anyway, so they're going to go to the library or whatever, or the newspaper or whatever. They're going to look in the archives. I think it's the local newspaper or whatever, where they're on the microfiches. Remember them kids? So there they are, looking up the old newspaper cuttings, Mill Valley cuttings. She's looking at some more of the stories. What we've got? A room for one more. I'm guessing that's one of the stories. Anyway, she's taking notes and she's getting the names, seeing if any names crop up, you know, like missing people and stuff like that. And they do. That's where we learn that after Sarah Bellows hanged herself, they'll keep saying she hung herself. What year did she hang herself? It says it right there, but past tense they keep saying hung. The family left town, and there were a family that essentially built the town, the factory that they had, that were pumping mercury, we learned, into the water. That you know, everybody worked in that factory, and when they left, the factory shut down or whatever, I don't know, but they just up and left, did the family. But without selling. So anyway, she finds the names of the family members in her stories. Deodat and Ephraim, and they're there in the stories. So something happened to them. She wrote a story about them. Excuse me. Pardon me. Anyway, suddenly another story starts writing itself. Look, the red spot. Oh, I wonder what that could be about. Maybe it's Ruth and her spider bite, you reckon? So it starts writing itself, and they think it's him because he were eating something, and he spilt some red stuff on there. But no, suddenly it says Ruth, and I don't want to die. I haven't had sex yet, he says. But say no, it's Ruth because her name appears in a minute. Wait, young girl. There we go. And it says Ruth. So they've got to get over to the school because she's getting ready for her play. And here we are at the school. Performers to stage in 20 minutes. It might be a rehearsal. It might be. I don't know. But anyway, she's there. But we see that she's got a big, massive spot on her cheek now. That other girl's there saying, you need to do something about that. So she goes off, running to the bathroom. There it is, look. Go on, pop it. Pop it, love, right in the mirror. Anyway, there you go. Need to do something about it. So she goes running off to the girls' room. And it all starts freaking out. And I'm also expecting a Borg implant to come out. It's very like that, look. In a minute. It starts doing Borgy type stuff in a minute. They're running after her. Anyway, so here it comes. Any minute now. There it is, look. A Borg implant's going to come out. But it ain't, it's a spider leg comes out. And she's freaking out, obviously. I would be. It just looks like a hair. She tries pulling it out, but it turns out it's a spider leg. Then suddenly loads of spiders come out. They're crawling all over her. There we go, she tries pulling it out. It's not happening, look. But no, spiders coming out. Terrifying. Anyway, all the lights go off, obviously. So she's all been covered in spiders and she's freaking out. Ramon, goes to try and help her, and Chuck gets a bucket, the janitor's water bucket, and throws that on her. Meanwhile, Stella looks round as she sees the image or the shadow of Sarah's spirit somewhere. There it is. Look, oh, it was Sarah. So anyway, but it's too late. Ruth's gone gaga now. She's out of there. She's just saying, get them off. But anyway, so they're taking her away. There you can see she's not dead. They've saved her life. But she ends up in Penhurst. But straight away, it's like, hang on, he says it's my sister's gone. He says, where did he say it? There we go. My sister's gone. Well, she's still alive. Might be crazy, but she's still alive. They do say later on she's going to be in the mental asylum for the rest of her life. Anyway, so they're looking up. All right, while they're looking at the newspapers and stuff, they found that the story going round was that Sarah's parents had a couple of servants, and one of them was called Lulu, and the story was Lulu and her mother taught Sarah black magic and witchcraft, and the parents fired them. But she's still around. I don't know how old she's supposed to be. This is 1968, and they're saying Sarah Bellows were in the late 19th century or something like that. I don't think it gives an exact date. It might do, I can't remember. Does it say? Let's have a look. Oh, where are you? Yes, 1898. So she must be in. So it's 70 years, isn't it? So she must be, and she was a kid, so she must be about 70 then. 80, I mean. Anyway, when they do meet her, luckily she's still around. Right, so anyway, they find the address in the phone book. Remember them kids' phone books? So anyway, they find the house. Oh, and here's where he's telling them about, I've had that dream again. I was trapped in the red room, and the pale lady was saying, this place is evil. Run away while you still can. And he's terrified of that dream. I used to have, when I was a kid, I used to have this recurring dream. I once wrote an article about it on my website, where I kept having this dream where, so if I were in this, the story would be about my dream, wouldn't it? Where I was in a room, this big dark room, like an aircraft hangar. It was like this huge space, but you couldn't see, what it was. It were all dark, not pitch black, but you got like a sense that you were in this big space, and you could hear these voices. As though there were loads of people there, but you couldn't see them. But then there was this low wall. I'm getting the chills now thinking about it. There was this low wall, and as I was walking along, this little goblin fella came round on a tricycle, and he had like a hood, like a monk's cowl on, and he said something, in some weird language, this nasal language. It's like that. And, and suddenly a big cheer went up from the invisible people in the room, and all the lights came on, and then I woke up. And I had that dream several times when I was a kid. I never understood it. I think I was abducted by aliens. But anyway, that's by the by. I just thought I'd share that with you because Chuck were talking about his dream. Anyway, so the knock on the door. Does Lulu Baptiste live here still? Anyway, she does. So that's not her, that's her daughter. So they're going to go and talk to her. There she is. She's an old lady. There she is, and I think blind. But so they're asking her about Sarah, but she's not responding. Anyway, so Stella finds a musical box and it starts playing a song, and she starts singing this song of whatever it's about. Don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, because forever you may be the next to die. That's it. So anyway, they tell her that they've got Sarah Bellows' book. So you don't know what you've done. Anyway, so they said, did you teach her black magic? She says, there's no magic. I don't know what. If they did or not, I don't think they did. Maybe Sarah taught them, or maybe she had it all along, I don't know. But you shouldn't have taken the book, she says. Well, I know that, but they can't do anything about it now, can they? But anyway. So they've got to go to the hospital. She says, she didn't die, she didn't hang herself. They thought she hanged herself at home. But they find out that she didn't, and she was actually committed, was Sarah Bellows. She went to the Penhurst Asylum. And that's where she hanged herself. So they've got to go there. They says the hospitals have records, so they've got to go there now. And they go on the bus, because remember, this car's in the shop. So off they go on the bus to the Penhurst place, and this is where we're going to see it any minute. Oh, peace, there it is. I don't think it's the actual Penhurst Asylum, because it was filmed in Canada, wasn't it? So there it is. The Penhurst Hospital. So here they go. So they're trying to blag their way in. They're saying they do a school project. They need to see some old files from old patients from like 100 years ago, or 70. I keep forgetting it's 1968. But they won't let them. She gives them a form in the end to fill out, and she says it'll be 6 weeks. So they're thinking that's no good. So they're going to sneak in, because the kids, and we're going to see loads of people coming out of this door, so they sneak through that door, and they're heading for the Red Room, because they hear another doctor saying, we keep all those old records in the Red Room, and obviously Chuck goes, I'm not going to a Red Room. But we find out it's not an actual Red Room, it's just called that. And it stands for something. There we go. Records and Evaluation Department. That's the Red Room where the records are. So they're heading there. But Chuck's still saying, I'm still not going. It's called the Red Room. I'm not going. She says, okay, wait here. Anyway, so he runs out, basically. And he ends up on the roof. And he goes back in. And they're chasing after him, because they saw him, them nurses or orderlies or whatever they are, saw him. Hey, what you doing? So he goes and hides. Up there, goes and hides. Meanwhile, they're down in the basement, in the spooky basement where the Red Room is, and then they find Sarah's file box. There it is. And in it, there's all admittance records and all that stuff, but in it is a wax cylinder. Again, it's curiously, there were a wax cylinder in Crimson Peak, wasn't there? Was it Crimson Peak? We've had a wax cylinder in the film recently, haven't we? I'm sure it was Crimson Peak. Yeah, it was Crimson Peak, wasn't it? And there's one in this. Guillermo del Toro must like wax cylinders. Anyway, we learned that they've done all sorts of things to her when she were in, and we learned that her doctor were actually her brother, Ephraim. And it was essentially torturing her, doing all electric shock therapy and isolation therapy and all the usual stuff they used to do back then. They find a wax cylinder, and he says, they used to use these before they invented LPs. I thought, yes, because remember, it's 1968. Anyway, so they find a player for it. Meanwhile, He's still hiding from the orderlies. They're saying sound the alarm. They go listening to this wax cylinder, and we hear Sarah's voice, when the voice of her brother, essentially torturing. I think he's giving her electric shock therapy. She's saying, "I didn't do any of it." And this is where we learn that it was actually the family that poisoned, because she got the blame, did Sarah, for poisoning so many people in the town. But it turned out it was the factory pumping out mercury. Anyway, they go with the water. She says it was the water, but her brother keeps giving her electric shocks, and then her voice suddenly changes. There we go. Charlie had a dream of a red room. So Charlie, Charles, Chuck. So she starts telling the story of the red room. So anyway, there we go. This is an evil place. There's a woman with long black hair. Anyway, suddenly it all goes to red. Is it because the alarms have gone off? Don't know. It's all gone to red. And suddenly it starts. There we go. We see the pale lady. And he can't get away from her. There she is, look. Terrifying. And he can't get away from her. Every time he turns round, she's there, getting closer, down every corridor, until suddenly she's all around him. It's quite tense, I must admit. This part of the film is quite tense, where down every corridor he turns, she's there, getting a little bit closer every time. Until suddenly he ends up at like a crossroads, I suppose you could say. There's 4 corridors. But she's there down everywhere he turns. Anyway, she's there, and she just hugs him, and he just goes into her. She absorbs him. There we go, into herself. There we go, and that's it. He's gone, and Chuck's gone, and so they come running in, and they go, "Where is it?" And she finds the pen. Remember the pen he had earlier? Just that on the floor, with the cheeky lady on. So he's gone, missing, presumed dead. But anyway, so the police have arrived and everything. So they're at the police station. She phones her dad, saying, "If I go missing, I'm sorry," and all that. And he's saying, "Where are you? I'll come and collect you." And she didn't tell him she's at the police station, but because she's an idiot. As well as the one to blame for everything that's happened in this film. But he's freaking out, obviously, because he's a good dad. And anyway, so she's saying, "If I go missing, I didn't leave you," unlike Mum. He's saying it was my fault, and he's saying to her, "No, it wasn't your fault, it was her fault," and all that stuff. So anyway, and then she just hangs up on him, And he's saying, "Is your dad going to come and pick you up?" No, because she didn't even mention where she was, because she's dopey. Anyway, it's where we learn that he's a draft dodger, is Ramon. So they're going to lock him up, and they lock her up as well, because she says she's staying there. All the rest of the police go, by the way. The police station was shut on the night time, and so there's just the chief left. So anyway, so he locks them up. There they are, in the jail cells. And then suddenly stuff's going to happen. So I'm guessing, there we go. He's looking at the book, is the chief. Because obviously they told him what was going on with the book. It's writing itself, and it's Sarah Bellows and all that stuff. Ghostly things. Obviously he doesn't believe it. But then it happens right in front of him as he's watching. The me-tie, dirty walker. I've no idea what this means. I don't know. I don't get it. But anyway. This is where we're going to meet the jangly man in a bit. But anyway, suddenly, obviously, all the electricity goes out. And then his dog starts freaking out, starts growling at a fireplace that's there. And saying, "What's going on?" And she's saying, "Let us out, we're all going to die." I think he realises to Ramon what's going on. It's the jangly man who's coming. He says, "Whose name's in the book?" And he looks at the book, and it's Ramon. So it says, "A campfire story about the jangly man." Apparently, there we go. Apparently, I'll go back to that in a minute. Apparently, the word jangly, apparently, I didn't know. I assumed they meant like jangly keys, but they don't. Jangly means like a wild man. It's from Hindi, apparently. But anyway. Lord, I was a jangly man. I'm guessing that's a song. I don't know. Anyway, so it says it's the jangly man. Anyway, so and suddenly down the chimney, a head appears. There it is. Obviously prosthetic head. Saying, "Meet I, dirty walker." I've no idea what that means. I don't get it. But anyway, as is what he shoots it. He shoots it, but it doesn't do anything. And the rest of the body parts come down the chimney. Rambling. Oh, I do know that song, Rambling Man. Yes, I do know that. Anyway, he reconstitutes himself as the jangly man in front of the chief, and he's going to show it. And kills the chief. No, it skipped over that bit because it's. There we go. For Pete's sake. There we go. And reconstitutes himself. I said, the jangly man was played by a contortionist, and apart from the prosthetics and stuff in the head and the mechanics and stuff, probably a bit of CGI going on as well. All his body movements are actually done by the contortionist fella, who is called Troy something or other. Hang on. Can't remember. Troy James as the jangly man. Anyway, kills the chief, breaks his neck. Oh, there we go. So off he goes. He's got to get Ramon, calls him a coward. Here he comes. There we go. Here he comes. Look, and that is the actual contortionist doing that, but I'm guessing not his head. I don't think he can turn his head 180 degrees, can they? And luckily, the chief fell dead just outside her jail cell, even though he didn't. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Or does he throw the chief? No, I think he might throw the chief in there. Does he? Can't remember. Has it skipped it? Yes, he threw the chief in there. I was thinking, he didn't land next to her when he broke his neck. He didn't land next to her cell, but he throws him in, thankfully. And then in he comes. But she tries to get the keys. There he's saying coward, and he's trying to squeeze through the bars. I was calling him a coward because he's a draft dodger. We learned that the reason he's dodged the draft is because his brother went to Vietnam, and he says his brother was sent home in pieces. Then he got his call-up letter, and he thought, I can't do it, which is fair enough, I suppose. But anyway, so that's why he ran. Anyway, she gets the keys. There we go. She gets the keys, and they get out. There we go. And but the jangly man's still chasing them. She picks up the book. He gets the keys for the police car, and then it's raining as well. And he says, "You go to the house and do something." I think they've got to tell Sarah the truth. I don't know what that'll do, but it's to tell Sarah the truth about what happened. I mean, Sarah knows the truth, doesn't she? Sarah's kind of the victim, but she's an angry spirit, isn't she? But anyway, tell Sarah the truth. I'll drive off, and the jangly man will follow him. So off she goes running to Sarah Bellow's house, and he goes driving off. There we go. But the jangly man, there we go, lands on the hood, or the bonnet as we call it over here, and trying to get in. There's stunt driving, and then he smashes into a truck. There we go. Hang on, I've gone too far. Puts his seatbelt on and rams into a truck that's coming. There it is. The jangly man's hanging on the front of the car, the police car. And there we go. Poing. But he's not dead because obviously he's a supernatural creature. So he gets out and runs off, and the jangly man just disassembles himself. There we go. Just disassembles himself and heads off after Ramon. Anyway, Sarah arrives at... not Sarah, Stella arrives. I better be calling her Sarah all through the film, man. Whatever. Stella arrives at Sarah's house. And there we go. Just want to help you. We know you're innocent, Sarah. And all that. But then as she's holding the book there, it just disappears out of her hands, and suddenly the house is back in its heyday. So there's kind of a time slip thing going on here. All that, she's in another dimension, bit like that Star Trek episode that we just watched, which we're going to see. We see that Ramon arrives in a bit, and they're occupying the same space, but it's different for them. Anyway, so she's taken Sarah's place now, we learn. There you go. Ramon's arrived at the house. He's found the book on the floor. It's disappeared for her, hasn't it? The house is, all old and decrepit for him. But for her, it's back to normal. Look, Stella's story. Ah, no. Anyway, so she's like hiding. There we go. We're seeing. We see somebody's called Harold the Scarecrow. I'm guessing. It must be based on him. So she's going hiding in the house, and then she goes into this room with this old woman. Remember that had the dog. I don't think we see the dog, do we? I don't know. But what that Chuck saw earlier on, which is kind of a red room, isn't it? Weirdly, and Chuck were in a red. He had a dream about a red room, and this room is kind of red, isn't it? But she's not the pale lady. But anyway. But she's blind, but she says she's in here because they're all looking for Sarah. Sarah. They say Sarah's got out again, and they're all looking for her. And she says, she's in here, I can hear her. And then she looks in the mirror. And she's Sarah, but it doesn't show us it yet. She's looking, but it doesn't show us. And then she runs off, and as she runs, that's the only glimpse we get of Sarah's flowing gowns. So she's still hiding. Meanwhile, the jangly man's trying to get to Ramon. She runs to this dining room, and this is Lulu as a kid. Remember the old lady? This is her as a kid. And she points, she says she hides, tells her to hide under the table. So she hides under the table. And they're saying to her, Lulu, have you seen Sarah? She said, no, I didn't see Sarah. Don't believe you. And they drag her off and say, no, don't, Mr. Ephraim, don't do it again. So they're going to beat her or whatever. Anyway, Ramon's running around the old dark house. Don't know why, just he's trying to get away from the jangly man, isn't he? She's still hiding under the table, but they find her, and there we go. And they drag her down into a room in the basement. There we go. They go, try this again, we'll send you to the asylum, which they do in the end anyway, but they're locking her in the basement. And then suddenly she's not Sarah anymore, because we see Sarah now. So 1 minute she'll be Sarah, but now she isn't. But I'm thinking, has the house gone back now? I think the house has gone, but it's not the old house. It's the present, the 1968 house now, isn't it? I think, because she sees Sarah there in a chair, looking all creepy. Anyway, and the jangly man's about to get Ramon, and she's saying, we know, Sarah, that you were wronged, but you've got to stop killing people, and all that. And so she says, the rage has got to stop. If she hadn't said, Sarah, tell me a story at the beginning, none of this would have happened. But anyway. Anyway, Sarah pulls out a fountain pen, says, you've got to write the story. You've got to tell them that I was innocent with your blood. So she pricks her finger like that. Gets a lot of blood out of this. Just that, pricks her finger like that. Again, like that Star Trek episode. Anyway, she starts writing in the blood, Sarah was innocent, she was brave and all that. So I'm guessing like she's giving it that. Getting more blood out of her finger, because she's writing and writing. And Sarah goes, okay, that'll do. And she screams, does that. Ah! And I don't know, does she rest in peace? I don't know, because the jangly man disappears as well. And I was expecting everybody to reappear. I was expecting Augie to come back and Chuck, because we didn't see them die, did we? And maybe even Tommy. Suddenly, I don't know, just cough and sputter his way out of the scarecrow. But no, I think they're all gone. They're all dead. Maybe. But anyway, so we're in a voiceover. Stories hurt, stories heal, they become real. And anyway, so they hug. That's the closest we get. It's like a friendship hug, not a lover's hug. Anyway, so she goes home. She starts telling her story, or the story of Sarah, with her photo of Augie and Chuck having good times. And she won a prize for the truth behind Sarah Bellows, or whatever it says. First place story by Stella Nichols. So she won a prize. And anyway, and Ramon's off to do his duty. He's off to Vietnam. Does he come back? I don't know. She gives him a letter, and he says, write to me. She says, I'll write every day and all that. Does she? Don't know. Off he goes. Anyway, and then we cut to, she's in the truck with her dad, and they're all smiling, and they've got to go and find out. There we go. Chuck and Augie are still gone, but I think it's like a pilot for a TV show. I know there's a way to bring them back, or they're setting up for a sequel, or there hasn't been one yet. But what are they? Are they bullet holes, or are they screws, or what? I don't know. But anyway, so they've got to go and try and find a way to bring Augie and Chuck back somehow. And we look back in the back seat of the truck, and we see, where is she? There we go. Ruth is there. They've burst her out of the asylum. I don't know how, but they have. We see there she's got a wound on her face when all the spiders came out. But she's smiling, but they've got her out. What? How did they get her out? I don't know. She's technically a minor, isn't she? So what does her mother have to say about that? I've no idea. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just snuck her out. I've no idea. But she's going with them on their new mission to find out what's happened. I don't know where they're going. I don't know. But that's how the film ends, as they drive off into the Pennsylvania countryside, or Canada. But and there we go. Oh, that's all in Russian for some weird reason. So there we go. That's the end of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. A good film, I must admit. It is. I think it is one of those good, but teen horror films. There's no bad language in it, really, apart from the odd, shit and stuff like that. There's no F-bombs in it. I don't think there is, anyway. But it is well worth a look. It's one of those entry-level horror films. A horror film that you can show your kids, like Arachnophobia. It's long. What certificate is it in here? Oh, it's a 15 certificate. That's technically an R rating in America. Some scary monsters and stuff, but it's not gory or anything like that. As I say, it's a horror film. I think you can show your kids if they're not too squeamish. But it is well worth a look, in my opinion. I really like it. But if she hadn't have said that at the beginning of the film, Sarah, tell me a story, everybody would be alive in this film. Dear. And she took blame for her mother leaving, but she doesn't take the blame for everything that happens in this film. Unbelievable. But never mind. Right, so that's that. So give it a whirl. As I said, it's well worth a look. You can get it on Blu-ray, or it is on, I think it's on Amazon and YouTube. I usually leave the links. The links are in the description for where you can watch it if you want to watch it, to rent or buy. There are other ways to see it, I am sure. But there we go. So that's that for another week. It is worth a look, though. It is worth a look. And the performances in it are good, and the monsters are good. All practical with a little bit of CG enhancement, and well worth an hour and 3/4 of your time. Maybe it is a little bit too long. Could have trimmed 15 minutes off. But anyway, right. What's André Øvredal's next film, I wonder? Let's have a look, see what he's up to next. Because he is a good filmmaker. What's he doing next? Let's have a look. Oh, I did the Last Voyage of the Demeter as well, yes. Which were okay. It wasn't amazing. Bendy and the Ink Machine. That's his next film. What the hell is that about? To be arranged. Pardon me. Bendy and the Ink Machine. What we're looking at here? Excuse me. It's a game. A survival horror game. Never heard of it. Came out in 2017. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. I've never heard of it. Anyway, so he's doing a film of Bendy and the Ink Machine, which is a game. I've never heard of it. Oh, right. I shall have a look for that. And see if it's on like Steam or something. Is it on Steam? No. Oh, it might be. It's on Microsoft Windows. Yeah, so it's probably on Steam, innit? That's his next film. Never heard of it, Bendy and the Ink Machine. So anyway, right, so we'll leave it there. Right, so what's coming up next? What day are we on? Friday. Monday. I'll not mention Sundays, because I haven't done anything on Sunday for ages, have I? Monday, it is the anniversary. I can't remember what year we're on. It's the anniversary, anyway, of Raiders of... I think it is. Is it? No, it's just the 100th episode, isn't it? That's why. Episode 100 of Magnificent Mondays. So I thought I'd do, one of the best films of all time. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Not Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Just Raiders of the Lost Ark. So one of the greatest films ever made. That's on Monday. And I haven't decided what next Friday's film is and all that. Right, so... and next Wednesday might be my season 7 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Right, so thanks, Win Grace, for keeping me company while I waffle on about scary stories to tell in the dark. So I will bugger off and let you get back to whatever you were doing. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff down there. And explore the description and things. And buy some merch and me books and all that palaver. And become a member. Become a member. Like Win Grace is. Win Grace is a member. And Justin and Adam Gamer and Gavin Blackburn. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. My members. And some others as well. I apologise. I do have a list of them, but I haven't got it to hand. Right, so we'll leave it there. I'll just check on Rumble and make sure we haven't got any messages on Rumble. No, not even any stream boo on Twitch. So we'll leave it there. Right, so thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other. Don't have nightmares. And until next time, I'll say that... looks like a big toe, doesn't it? Put it in the stew. Wingray says, take care. Yes, you take care too. Where were we? So until next time, I'll see you there.